This is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Mark 13:8. Slakia, Mark 13:7 through verse 8. And it reads, verse 7, in the book of Mark. And when ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars, be ye not troubled, for such things must need be, but the end is not yet. Verse 8. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. And there shall be earthquakes in diverse places, and there shall be famines and trouble. These are the beginning of sorrows. And Luke 21:9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions of Slakia. Let me read that again. Luke 21:9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be ye not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Shalom. First and foremost, I give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai Ba'Hashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim scattered through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim that be like unto the speckled bird, preach the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there. And as you see, I'm bringing out those scriptures right there pertaining to these news articles that I'm about to bring out. I believe it's like 2 or 3 news articles, and this is the first one right here for In the News. In October, today is October 15th, 2022. And 11:44, call Allah Yahweh Shemel Shai. So, this is a news article was posted yesterday, published yesterday from the Jerusalem Post. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, North Korea fires artillery shells off east-west coast of South Korea, military says. And this was published on, once again, like I mentioned before, published yesterday, October 14, 2022, by Reuters. And the highlight of this news article, and it reads, even though it's a short read, and it says, North Korea fired artillery shells off its east and west coast on Friday, South Korea military says. Right, because I believe I did a video yesterday was mentioned about North Korea I think this is like the second time this had happened, about North Korea was flying their planes and stuff like that. And I believe they was firing their missiles as well too, because South Korea and the United States and Japan, they was they was on alert about that, So this is like the second time this has happened. Now you got this recent article right here, because the tensions definitely starting to increase more and more by the day. And they had like I mentioned before, as I'm gonna read it again. North Korea fires artillery shells off east-west coast, South Korean military says. And this is another news article right here. I believe the United States had funded more military aid to Ukraine. They made an announcement, I would say about 2 days ago, or the day before yesterday. And this is from defense.gov. And this was a press, I think it was a immediate release of the news right here. And it says 725 million of additional security assistance for Ukraine was announced as mentioned. It says today's the Department of Defense announced authorization of a presidential drawdown for security assistance values up to 725 million to meet Ukraine's critical security and defense needs. This authorization is the Biden administration 23rd drawdown of equipment from the DoD inventories for Ukraine ever since August of 2021. From August of 2021 all the way until now, the United States and the Biden administration been continuing consistently funding military aid over there to what the Russian-Ukraine situation over there, as that war continues to increase and escalate from the beginning to the invasion of February all the way until now. So yeah, that's why I brought out Matthew 24:6. the wars and rumors of wars, with the situation with Israel and Palestine, the situation with the Russia-Ukraine situation, and and the earthquakes in diverse places as well too. And this is a news article, another one right here. So this is like the third news article, and and it was gonna be, like the scripture had stated, it was gonna be an increase of earthquakes in diverse places around the world as well too, in diverse places increasing. And this is matter of fact, before I start that news article, I'm gonna bring out Luke 21:11 as well too. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 11, and it reads, "And great earthquakes shall be in diverse places, famines, pestilence, fearful sights, and great signs shall there be from heaven." Right, because we seeing these great signs of these earthquakes in diverse places. And I was about to bring out the news article, and that was the spirit. And I was like, let me bring out that Luke 21:11. See if I can bring it up, because I just had. Right, and this was a series of earthquakes around in the Hawaii region over there. And this is a news article from Al Jazeera, was reported yesterday at 9:12 p.m. From MSN.com. In the highlight of this news article, and it reads, it says, series of earthquakes rattle Hawaii, Mauna Loa, volcano unrest. And it says a magnitude of a 5.0 earthquake was strongest of a series of tremors that have struck Hawaii's Mauna Loa, the largest active volcano. Right, because he was going to have a lot of volcano erupts in the last days as well too. But you've been having, I think for the past couple of months, you've been hearing much about increase of volcano erupts. Now from this recent story right here, now it shows it says the largest activity of volcano on the planet. When scientists say, how that's Esau's scientists is a state of hiding unrest. Continuing on with the news article, and it says a series of earthquakes on Friday started with a magnitude of a 4.6 magnitude earthquake 24 seconds before the larger 5.0 earthquake in the Hawaii volcano observation said in a statement issued by the United States Geological Survey. And it says the two large earthquakes were reported by hundreds of people from the island of Hawaii, and it felt to lesser an extent across the interior state of Hawaii. An observation said shaking from larger earthquakes may have been strong enough to do minor local damage, especially the older building. And it says earthquakes have been perceivably previously eruptions in Mauna Loa, though they have generally been larger than quakes experienced on Friday, the observer said. So yeah, hey, these earthquakes in diverse places is definitely going to increase. It kind of slow down a little bit, but it's going to increase more and more and more as the days progresses on. It says there have been no immediate effect on the continuing unrest between the Mauna Loa summit, which remains elevated at levels similar to the pace past week, the observation added. And it says Hawaii County Mayor Mitch Rock said there was no immediate reports of major damage or injuries. He later said there were some minor damages in the town of Palaha, but wasn't able to immediately provide details. The aftershocks could continue for several days to possible weeks. It may be large enough to be felt. Scientists and the observation are monitoring the menu closely for changes. and it says 100 of response of the USGS earthquakes website reported weak to light shaking across the vast islands. And it says the Pacific tsunami warning said there was no tsunami threats to Hawaii. It says a Mauna is a yellow advisory warning, which means it's being observed, but there are no signs of imminent eruptions. So yeah, earthquakes in diverse places, definitely increasing. Just like I brought out that scripture, Luke 21:11, of the great signs of earthquakes, and that's what we're seeing. Back and forth, ongoing, on and off, continuing increase of earthquakes in diverse places, with the magnitudes of the numbers going up and down from 4.5 all the way into like 7.0, potentially to like 7.3 or 7.2, 7.3 potentially. But we've seen signs of that, of having a 7.1 or 7.3 magnitude of an earthquake. And it's gonna get back to it again. It's gonna increase. It kind of slowed down at the moment, but it's gonna increase and ramp back up as well too. Because we in that tsunami, hurricane season as well too. And I'm gonna bring out that scripture again of that Matthew 24:6 in regards to the United States funding more military aid. I believe it was $752 million. They made an authorization on that about day before yesterday. With the war in Ukraine continues to increase. I believe it was like yesterday, Russia was firing some more rockets towards the Ukraine area. And then those tensions are definitely heightening up between the nations and different kingdoms. Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that be not trouble, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet, right? Because more prophecies are coming. It's coming by the days, the MOTB, the full digital currency, that's coming soon. That's why the end is not yet, because more upcoming prophecies are increasing. And I'm going to bring up that Matthew 24. This is the book of Matthew 24:7. I'm going to go to the next verse. I was at verse 6 now. This is verse 7. And this is the book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 7. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in diverse places. Right, you're going to have the increase of the earthquakes in diverse places. As I showed that news article, Hawaii got hit with recent earthquakes twice in one day, 4.5 magnitude earthquake and a 5.1 magnitude earthquake. And you have volcano erupts over there as well too, which is common, in that region over there. But you're going to start to see it increase more and more. And these earthquakes in diverse places are going to increase. These landslides. I believe not too long ago, I believe it's like a week ago, you had that mudslide over there in Venezuela. I believe it was like 20 plus people had died off of that. And then you had I believe it was a new flooding over there in Australia. It was like I think it was like a couple of people had died or something, because it was like heavy floodings. So I guess it was probably like the suburban part of Australia, I guess. So you're gonna have these volcano erupts, earthquakes in diverse places, heavy floodings, the record-breaking weather droughts that we had this past summer. Now we already into October. The hurricane season is already begunning, especially during the whole month of September and October as well too. So expect to see these heavy floodings, these heavy droughts, these heavy floodings, these earthquakes in diverse places around the world. So we're going to continue it's going to increase more and more. We're going to have some more floodings. We're going to have tornadoes. We're going to have earthquakes. We're going to have tsunami warnings. And you're going to have these earthquakes that's going to increase around the world as well too. We're going to have more continued heavy floodings and heavy rains. Heavy droughts are going to continue. Hurricane season is still going to increase more and more and more throughout the islands and throughout the whole world, you know. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of the Hawaii Outside. This was just a quick outside lesson before starting camp very soon. So I just want to do a little quick lesson. So with that, once again, hopefully the lesson was edifying through the spirit, power, grace, and mercy of the Hawaii Outside. And first and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the Akim, that be like unto the speckled bird, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And until next time, I will say shalom and above.